1, 2, 3, 4. Is that you walking down the road towards me? I always knew I'd find your heart again exactly when it was meant to be. I know those eyes look beyond the veil to when we wrapped our hands together long ago, as today we found our way. It's the perfect time for our souls to dance again. Your world or mine, as if we had a clue. Look to the heavens, the stars are aligned right here at the perfect time. We feel it. Something's been weaving our lives together. We're falling into the heart of love. Is it true? There's really just one destination, and all those paths that we stumbled on, they led us to this sacred station. Those magic words, forever and ever, let us write them in the sand. 'Cause we both know the greatest gift is this love in our hands. It's the perfect time for our souls to dance again. Your world or mine, as if we had a clue. Look to the heavens, the stars are aligned right here at the perfect time. At the perfect time, at the perfect time.
I need a sign to let me know you're here. All of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere, and I need to know that things are gonna look up, 'cause I feel us drowning in this sea spilled from a cup. There is no place safe and no safe place to put my head when you feel the world shake from the words that I've said. And I'm calling all angels, and I'm calling all you angels. I won't you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. And I need a sign to let me know you're here. 'Cause my TV set just keeps it all from being clear. I want a reason for the way things have to be. I need a hand to help build up some kind of hope inside of me. And I'm calling all angels. I'm calling all you angels. When children have to play inside so they don't disappear, while private eyes solve marriage lies 'cause we don't talk for years. And football teams are kissing queens and losing sight of having dreams. In a world where what we want is only what we want until it's ours. I'm calling all angels. And I'm calling all you angels. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up.
Wow.
Thank you, Jennifer Burnett. Thank you, Kent, Rob, Mike, Susan. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Mile High Church. Welcome. So great to virtually be together tonight. It's not as good as in person, but at least we can connect, especially on this day, which has been a frightening and frankly infuriating day for so many of us in our country. And so, you know, Michelle, protesters in our capital in Washington, D.C., well within their right to protest, crossed the line and invaded and threatened our Capitol building in a way that, again, is infuriating and saddening. And yet I think it reminds us, as much as we may love to criticize our institutions in our country, of how sacred they are to so many of us. The Capitol building in Washington, D.C., and our Congress people, no matter how much we may complain about them, bravely right now getting back to work. And so we send our love to them. And I think it was even our vice president who just said that violence never wins, freedom always wins. And it's so important that we remember that today, and to know, as crazy as these times are, that we are going to pull through this, and that those institutions, our Congress, our democracy, our police, and our first responders, our public servants, we just surround all of them with love and light right now as they steer our country and our people through a challenging time.
Definitely. And we send love and prayers to the one woman who we know has lost her life in this interaction, as well as her family and whatever she was there for. We send her love and light. And we know that that song that Jennifer just sang is a perfect song for us to start with. We'd planned it weeks ago, and so it's a wonderful synchronicity that we were able to start out that way, because we all have the sacred task now to stand in our center and to stand as the light and to stand and be angels for ourselves and to each other. And so we invite you to be with us in this regard. We're so grateful you've chosen to tune in tonight. As Tom Litch was saying before the service, you could be tuning into the news, you could be watching something else, but you're here watching us. And that tells us that you're here to join us in uplifting ourselves and each other, even during challenging times like this. So if you want to light a candle with us, like we did for candlelight tonight, as a gesture of your willingness to stand in the light and to be an angel of light with us, I invite you to do that. I invite you just to keep breathing as we navigate this service, and I applaud each one of us for being here and allowing our souls to gather together for this night of challenge, this night where we are maybe confused and don't know what to believe. And I think Josh has been beautifully expressing the power of our democracy and the power of our connection to each other, and the power of coming together in community and supporting and uplifting one another. So we thank you again for being here, and we'll move through this together in love and light. And of course, we always have our beautiful music here at Mile High Church that can uplift and sustain us all. And so Jennifer's going to sing a very, very special song for us tonight that invites us to the highest place possible as we imagine greater possibilities for ourselves and our whole world. We'll hand it back to Jennifer Burnett.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine all the people imagine all. Imagine. Amen.
Amen, for sure. Thank you for your beautiful heart, Jennifer Burnett. And thank you to you, Rob, also for your beautiful heart. Love and support you both so much, and all who are here tonight with us, our production team and our band, and Josh and I. It's been a tough day. You know, all the things that we talked about in the beginning of the day, for me, weren't a part of my tough day. My tough day started out with some chaos in my home, but then it went on to find out that a close relative of mine who's in the hospital has been diagnosed with COVID and may have exposed family members to it, and so there was a lot of conversation about that, and that was hard enough for my little heart today. Then to see the activities that took place at our Capitol just were astonishing and shocking, and like many of you, I was sort of left speechless and kind of unable to figure out what should I say tonight. What I think we ministers find oftentimes with the things that go on in our world is that it can be really difficult to figure out, how do I get up in front of people on a very challenging day for myself personally, and then for all of us collectively, and speak and say something meaningful and say something that could be comforting and that could uplift people and that can help people in some way. And I sometimes don't know exactly what those words can be, what those sentiments might be, and I want to be authentic and not appear to be tone deaf to the challenges we're facing and that we face today. I'm ecstatic to hear that the continuation of our democracy is happening this evening, even with all that's gone on today. That makes my heart feel so much better. And yet, there's clearly work to be done in our country to continue to be as one and continue to be one country, one peoples under the democracy that is such a blessing for us all. And when it's challenged like this, it can be so hard to figure out, well, what do I do and what does it mean? And tempers can rise and fear can set in and tears come, sadness, and I have certainly gone through all of that myself today. And when I look back at my life, whether it's the challenges of this pandemic that we've been in or the challenges we've been in throughout this whole political season and then today, I honestly find myself going back to basics, which is what we're in right now. Going back to the basic ideas, the basic tenets, the basic principles that we stand for in our teaching and that we stand for as a spiritual community. They are principles and teachings that are ancient. I love how Dr. Michael Beckwith used to call us new thought, ancient wisdom. Because powerful beings throughout the ages have continuously challenged us to say, hey, no matter how challenging it gets, how bad it gets, how fearful you might be in your individual life or our collective life together, we have to stand in our oneness, and we have to stand in love, and we have to stand together, and we have to find that standing within our own hearts and within our own souls, that place that when times are great or times are challenging, we can go, that inner place of the Most High, as the Master Teacher Jesus used to say to us. The invitation to find that place that is with us in our most ecstatic moments and somehow bring it to bear even in our most challenging moments. I also, in the midst of all this, was blessed to be on a call today for the Association for Global New Thought. It was actually a Facebook Live event that we do every week, and I was one of the speakers along with my colleague, Reverend Temple Hayes from Florida, and Reverend Temple was talking about faith, true faith. And I remember at one point in this call, she said the words, "All is well." That true faith is anchoring ourselves in the reality, not the sentiment, but the reality of the divine and of the universe and of conditions and of our world that is willing to audaciously say, even though it all looks pretty messed up right now, at the level of the divine, all is well. To me, that is going back to basics, and yet that's a very deep place. And it's a place where the most spiritual beings, the beings who find themselves confronted with challenge and have to deepen into their faith, confronted with challenge, deepen into their faith, confronted with challenge and deepen into their faith, have to go in order to not only soothe and support themselves individually, but actually then become and be a beneficial presence to the world. And so that's the invitation that I think life is always giving us, and especially tonight, life is giving us. In the midst of all this, how is it that all is well? Doesn't look well, doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. And this is not a spiritual bypass. This is not a all is well and pushing aside my frustration or my shock or my dismay. It's being in the midst of all of it together, the paradox of the deep spiritual traditions throughout the ages that can say, yeah, this is not fun. I don't like this. I wish it wasn't this way. Why did this have to happen? How can we stop it from happening again? What can we do different? And all is well. All is well at the level of spirit. All is well in the kingdom of heaven. All is well in ways I can't begin to understand. But I land in that and stand in that and felt the impact of those words from my beautiful colleague today. And I speak them this evening for myself and all who could hear and claim those truths and claim this deeper reality. And we also tonight came together originally and will still continue our Back to Basics series that Reverend Josh started so beautifully this past Sunday. I admit I was made a little bit speechless by how fantastic he was, and felt that he was so good, another word need not be spoken. And yet here I am, standing here attempting to continue that conversation that he started with us in our first Sunday of the year and our first Sunday of our series. We started out by talking about how to talk to God. And heart listening to Spirit's call. I love that, heart listening to Spirit's call. And as I said earlier, in my most powerful, prominent, challenging moments of my life, I honestly have found myself going back to basics. Deep, sophisticated, spiritual principles don't always do it for me. Sometimes it's just going back to what I know at the deepest level of my being. I remember I used to be an ice skater years ago. I was a figure skater and I trained quite a lot. And on the ice, I would often want to try something a little more complicated and sophisticated, some jump or spin or twirl. And I remember when I would be frustrated with trying that my brain would want me just to go back to basics. And I would attempt the jump or I would attempt the spin. Sometimes I'd fall, sometimes it wouldn't work out. And I would go back to basics, which was just being on the ice and feeling the connection of the ice with my skates and moving on the ice and going back to the most basic thing we're taught when we first start out skating. And as I got it back into that rhythm of the basic thing that I knew so well, the embodiment of that energy would often carry me forth to be able then to attempt and often be very successful at that thing I was trying to help my body actually learn to do. But it always meant I had to go back to the basic thing. And I'm saying to us right now that that is important for us. Going back to basics in our spirituality, in our sense of the universe, is a powerful thing to do. It's the most powerful thing to do, even when things get challenging and complicated and hard and frustrating. We can sometimes want to reject this notion because it can seem like it's too elementary, too below us. And yet, when we go back to some basic ideas and revisit them and re-embody them from the place in which we inhabit our life right now, our ability to then face the challenging spins and twirls of just living life every day can be greatly enhanced. And so I love that we are doing this series now, and I love that this night is happening for us right now. And so some things that I found powerful from Reverend Josh's message, even though we're talking tonight about talking to God and that heart listening, our entire series, the theme is evolved spirituality. Because I think that life is constantly seeking its evolution through us. And our founder, Ernest Holmes, thought this too. He talked about how evolution, transformation, is constantly seeking expression through us. It's constantly calling to each one of us. It's calling to humanity right now in big ways. And in order for what's happening in our world to evolve, something within us has to evolve and shift. So this theme is extremely meaningful for us. So he said some powerful things, lots of powerful things. But I love the three great things he suggested that we could work on and embody and consider to live a life of greater joy and greater meaning for ourselves and greater fulfillment. The first one, he said, was to work towards an ever-expanding understanding of God or the sacred, not fixed or fluid. And I think that is a basic thing that we get to go to in all the times of our life, if we're going back to basics, and especially right now. As I've watched people go through challenges, sometimes people want to say, well, if God is this great, omnipotent, omnipresence, why isn't it stopping the things that are happening in our world? And I think that propensity in our part invites us into an evolutionary experience and expansiveness around our God and our sense of God. An invitation to recognize that the evolution that Spirit is seeking to express is expressed through us and through all things, and that we're part of that evolution. So as we evolve and as we deepen, as we expand and experience a greater sense of God, then we contribute to the evolution of humanity and to Spirit and to life itself. And so I reject any notion that we ever should get to a place where we got God. In fact, I used to tell my community in Arizona that I was so blessed to serve for so many years that if I ever come to you and tell you, I have figured God out, got it all figured out, I'll talk to you anytime, I know all that God is, done, I'm so grateful, I'm finished, that they should fire me as their minister. And I say the same thing to you. Because it is, as Josh said on Sunday, a great honor to serve here in this community of Mile High Church. And part of that serving is that I have to do exactly what Josh suggested we all do. We as ministers, practitioners, as spiritual beings on this planet have to be willing to constantly deepen our sense of the divine in and through every great moment, every sunset, every sunrise, every moment of grace, every triumph, and through every challenge we face. And that's part of the human experience. He also suggested to us that we continue a deepening introspection of our own inner life and being, self-inquiry, authenticity, and our past beliefs. To me, this is about our personal healing journey, the invitation that we have always to keep getting better, to keep doing better, to keep being better, to challenge ourselves to evolve, and to recognize that sometimes as we look out in the world and see things going on, our pissosity about what we see is a reflection of some healing that we want to do, some ways that we need to forgive and we need to let go and we need to be more compassionate, more understanding. And so we constantly have this opportunity to grow. And lastly, he said, we can identify virtues and values most sacred to us and commit to practice those every day. And I like the last words he said, no matter what. No matter what. My beloveds, today is a no matter what day for all of us. Is this a day where we abandon our willingness to be a beneficial presence, where we cease to pray for our fellow humans, not just the ones that we find their behavior today heroic, but the ones we may find their behavior absolutely repulsive? Are we willing to do that no matter what? I am. And it's hard. I admit it's very hard at times. And yet today's when it really can count, that we are living these things out. This is part of the fulfilling, meaningful life of love that I think he's got right on the money. Josh does when he's talking about it. And I think it's a huge part of how we do experience the heart listening of the divine, these things that we can be about to support us. And these steps that Josh talked about, reveal to us that these are not the steps just for special people who are ministers or who are holy or who are clergy or who are wise or who are educated more than we are. These steps are for every single one of us who are seeking to bring forth that kingdom of heaven on earth. These steps also show us that life doesn't have to be perfect for us to use them and to focus upon them and to deepen in them. That they are some of the most powerful steps that we can take in our own spiritual journey. And that they contribute to our evolutionary experience. In his great book, Can We Talk to God?, our founder Ernest Holmes said in 1934, evolution is an eternal unfoldment. Life reveals itself to whoever is receptive to it. And what I have found is that in the moments of great challenge, if I cut myself off from my own evolutionary journey and refuse to move forward and take these steps that Josh was talking about and continue to challenge myself to take the high road, then I don't tend to evolve as fast. In fact, I get stuck. I get stuck in my own stuff. And so the evolutionary journey is revealing itself to those who perceive it and are willing to perceive it no matter what. Every day, no matter what. So we stand in that. Josh finished his talk on Sunday by talking about that silent partner. And that he said, may we stop shutting it out of our lives and hearts. And I go back to this evolutionary journey that we're on in this request that he made of us and realize that part of that evolution means that I have to give attention and intention to this life, this spiritual life that I seek to express. I think one of the greatest challenges for us in this modern world is that we can get so caught up in the world of form and what we're seeing out there, what we're hearing on the news, what people are telling us, what we're reading on social media, and fall into a trap of thinking everything we read is true and forgetting for ourselves that we can give attention and intention to a deeper place within us. And rather than seeing what's going on today through the eyes of Facebook or Twitter, see what's going on today through the eyes of our own heart. Do some heart listening to the divine and allow ourselves to hear from a deeper level what is ours to do, to hear from a deeper level how we can continue to contribute to our own evolution and the evolution of humankind and the evolution of the United States of America through this deeper listening. And not to seek to evolve through what we're reading elsewhere, but what we're experiencing right here and right now. And he also said that it's time for us to give up judging, criticizing, or being cruel to self, and judging ourselves and hating others. That's a very powerful statement, because today it could be really easy, couldn't it, to fall into hate? To hate people who oppose what you believe. To criticize people who oppose what you believe. It's an easy thing to do. But it really doesn't serve us. So I'm committing today to giving up my judgment and to stand in high watch, powerful high watch, as events continue to unfold and as evolution continues to occur through our hearts and through our oneness. Imagine the world we could create together if these became the steps that we took right now together. That song Jennifer sang. Just imagine. Imagine the world. Divine evolution, he said towards the end of his talk, isn't even a step away. It's this very moment. I know it, you know it. It is time today, as we stand together in this moment, to go back to basics, to listen to the voice of the divine in and through and as us, and to remember who we are, and to stand for what we stand for every day of our lives, even today. Live our principles no matter what. That's the power of this moment. I'd like to close with a prayer. I was blessed, I guess it was a week ago now. I was going to say a few weeks ago. Time is kind of acting a little bit strange. I was blessed to be part of our World Peace Meditation that Reverend Chris Plim orchestrated for myself and her and some practitioners, and a number of people joined us, and we shared some beautiful prayers in that meditation. And I'd like to close tonight with a prayer that has been adapted from the prayer of St. Francis, an invitation for all of us to pray this prayer and to be the embodiment of this prayer as we go back to basics. I am an agent of peace in this world. Where there is hatred, I am loving kindness. Where there is injury, I am forgiveness. Where there is doubt, I am insight. Where there is despair, I am hope. Where there is darkness, I am light. Where there is sadness, I am joy. May I console as well as be consoled. May I understand as well as be understood. May I love as well as be loved. For in giving we receive. In forgiving we are forgiven. And in dying to self-centeredness, we are born as one. And now, more music to support our journey.
I'm held in love, I'm held in peace. God is holding me with every breath, with every step. God is holding me. I'm held in love, I'm held in peace. God is holding me with every breath, with every step. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me. I'm held in love, I'm held in peace. God is holding me with every breath, with every step. God is holding me. 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 God is holding me.
Smith's coming back. I'm sorry. I was so caught up in the song, just so beautifully tranquil. Thank you so much. And so we have an opportunity now to step into that circulation of our good through tithes and offerings. And so we invite you to join us in that regard. If you would like to continue to share and uplift us with your financial abundance, which we are so appreciative of. We have been blessed by so many gifts and so many ways that people continue to uplift this ministry in this way and in so many ways. We invite you to do so tonight through texting. You can text 45888 and put in the word Mile High and the amount that you would like to donate. You can go to our website at milehighchurch.org and make a contribution there. And we welcome contributions through the mail also. So thank you for the ways that you give. And as we do give this evening, I invite us just to take a deep breath and to feel that abundant nature just flowing through us now, and know that the givingness that rises out of us to share our good does so from the overflow. And so just say to yourself, or say out loud if you're all alone, I am grateful for the opportunity to give. I stand in abundance and celebrate my abundant nature. I am blessed and I share my blessings. Thank you, life, and so it is.
There are people who have let the problems of today lead them to conclude that for them life is not the way.
Jennifer Burnett, Mile High Band. The wonderful Stevie Wonder from Songs in the Key of Life, perhaps the greatest American album of all time. If you want to feel better, make a commitment to listen to that every day for a week. Our music director, Tom Litch, came tonight just to hold consciousness. Just want to honor his presence in the room. It's good to have an audience and for us ministers to be able to say, well, Tom, today's sermon is. No, we're grateful that you're watching at home. And we're going to have a community prayer. So this is an opportunity just to whisper out loud, or if you're in the chat, you can put a prayer request there. We'll all hold it in confidence, and let's pray together and just simply go within to that place where there's no difference between us. Recognizing that divine presence, as Dr. Michelle put so beautifully, not in sentiment, but in actuality. Let us have a tangible experience of the divine in, through, and as ourselves right now. Knowing that even in moments of vulnerability, of uncertainty, of confusion, that there is indeed a breadth of wisdom and divinity so wide, so bright, so deep, that the idea of its absence should bring laughter at its ridiculousness. For there is that one power, that one light that vibrates in, through, and all creation. And just affirming that presence in my life, I invite those who choose to be a part of this prayer to know it for themselves, to apply it to our loved ones who may be struggling in any way, shape, or form, acknowledging our oneness in mind, our oneness in love, knowing that those divine realities outweigh and outstretch any temporary experience of lack of unity. And I know we hold in our hearts this divine experiment called our democracy as America, and knowing that America is each of us. The only country I know that's formed upon a prayer of liberty and justice and happiness for all beings, which you and I know wasn't true at the time in actuality when it was spoken, but has continued through striving, through death, through a willingness to have courage and grow. We collectively continue to move forward even through the seeming muck and mess, to bring forth the possibility of divinity that we know is within us, knowing that our collective awareness, our collective purpose is to bring forth that divine kingdom of heaven, of justice, of liberty, for all people in our country and all people in the world, and who knows, maybe even beyond. Each of us is that precious. Honoring this sacred life within, may we choose and dedicate ourselves, as Dr. Michelle told us, to not desacralize that presence. May we choose to live from it with courage, with heart, and with passion. Just dipping into a brief moment of silence. Let us know this silence is an opening for God's love, for God's healing, for God's sacred breath in you and in me. We bless it as it takes hold and moves us forward. And so it is. Thanks, Dr. Michelle, for that great talk. You're back here on Sunday as we continue our theme of Back to Basics, Evolve Spirituality. Looking forward to that. 2 great classes coming up, Beyond Limits and Compassionate Communication with Reverend Simon Shadowlight, coming up this month. And next week, Michelle, you and I get to share this stage together as we continue to go deeper into the basics principles of our teaching. Thanks again for being with us. Thanks for this incredible Mile High Band, and so it is.